Good evening, everybody, and this is Off the Wall Prepper, and this is our first episode of our first aid series for the month. And tonight, I have a special guest with me. She really did try to get on the video with me, but it just wasn't happening. So I do have Amanda here on the phone with me, and we're gonna go into some details, and she does have medical expertise. Amanda, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Great to have you on the show, Amanda. I wanted to talk to you. First, maybe give a little bit of background information about what you've done in the medical profession so that people kind of know where you're standing.
Okay, sure. I'm Paige again, and I've been an EMT for 23 years. I was a medic I waited quite a while to get my medic, and I was a medic for 3 years, and then went into an ER as a tech, and decided to leave the road. As I got older, everything gets sore and I get tired of lifting people all the time, and so I ended up becoming a cardiac tech in the hospital, and I did that for years. And then the COVID thing hit, and everything I saw firsthand made me want to leave. I didn't want to be part of it anymore, so I went and got my CDL. And now I'm a school bus driver. Just
Quite
really different.
quite a change of profession, that's for sure.
Yeah,
So, a-
yeah.
as we had talked, Amanda, back and forth via email, we kind of came up with a subject that I think is really important to the channel and to everyone because fall and winter's coming. They're saying it's going to be one of the worst winters in a century, and we just seen what happened down in Florida yesterday and today, and going into tonight. And I think it's really important to be prepared. What would you? Let's go into a little bit of frostbite or trauma, that type of thing. What you can do just common sense wise that can maybe get people out of a really bad situation.
Sure. Well, the Texas polar vortex thing that happened really concerned me a lot watching that go on, assuming a lot of people probably dealt with frostbite. And of course, common sense, the most important thing would be to do layers, to layer your clothing as much as you can, and to the moisture wicking material is a lot better, and cotton, like real cotton, not like nylon. Um, and for of course for the go bags and for your cars, extra socks is extremely important. Extra dry socks. I would put like 5 pair in my car. I actually have a few pair in the back of my car just
Hmm.
in case the car broke down. I had to like walk home, and I would bring the socks and change. Make sure your feet are dry. It's really important to cover everything that sticks out, like your nose, your fingers, your toes, your ears. Of course, keep your heat in with on your head and your feet, but everything that sticks out needs you got to make sure it's covered because the frostbite sets in on those furs.
Yeah, I've seen some horror stories with people losing like the tips of their finger, the tips of their ears, their nose, especially growing up in Colorado. I mean, it was like, whoa. Um, is there anything in particular that you would suggest? Okay, you said socks, definitely, maybe some foot warmers, hand warmers. Any other items that you would suggest that people carry in their vehicles during the fall and winter months, just in case?
Um, yeah, well, the warmers for sure, and extra socks, extra gloves. Um, my main concern is, yeah, I think maybe adults might know, but I think kids don't know a lot that their skin gets red and it starts to hurt and it gets prickly.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that when that pain and that prickliness goes away and it starts getting numb, that's when frostbite is actually setting in. And if you had a child with you or a person, they stop shivering, and they stop shivering and they get drowsy and confused, kind of almost like they're drunk, slurred speech. That's all stuff to look out for. And I know it sounds strange, but the the very best thing that anybody could do, I mean, not be like a weirdo, but to put naked skin against naked skin, like if you were with a friend or your kid or whatever, and that was all you could do, if you like were outside in the snow. That's the best way. The human skin on the human skin is the best way to warm them up. If you
Right, because you're not bringing their body temperature up too fast. And that can cause problems. Like I told that story on the channel. I don't know if you caught that live that day where my friend had got into the lake there in Denver, and it was springtime, and she started to get hypothermia, and it was very terrifying for all of us on the because she started turning purple, and then come to find out on top of it she was pregnant. And so, one of the gals actually stripped down and wrapped their body around him, and one of the guys put a just held up a blanket to make it not so like everybody on the lake, watching to make it, decent. But the thing is, I think body temperature helps in a lot of those situations. And if you raise the temperature too fast when it's frostbite, I think that causes a lot of issues as well.
Yes, that's why you're not supposed to use water, and it's really strange because back in EMT school they said you'd stay away from the water. People think if you put your limbs in warm water, that's a good idea. But that's exactly right, because there's no way to tell how frostbitten you are, like how drastically you're changing your temperature. You
Right.
know. And you were talking about the pregnant woman. That was something else I wanted to say. It can cause Braxton Hicks contractions and false labor.
Oh,
If
well.
that's a pregnant woman, yeah.
Oh, so you definitely, when somebody has frostbite, you want to be aware of the signs, and if they're pregnant, to make sure that you're doing something immediately. If there was no EMTs or first responders available, so the best way is to get their body temperature up. After you get their body temperature up, is there steps and things that you would suggest to do once you got them inside of a warm dwelling or home?
Well, yes. I mean, warm fluids. Like as an EMT, we would give a IV a normal saline. But I mean, if you don't have that, then warm fluids would be the best thing.
Like a hot tea or something like that. And
Or anything. I mean, they say coffee dehydrate. I mean, if it were me, I'd want a coffee for sure.
yeah, me too. Because coffee's one of my favorite drinks anyway. So, um, we had discussed a couple different topics. I'll let you just, if you have one specific, I think trauma. We talked about frostbite, dehydration. Um,
Yeah, dehydration's a big one.
let's talk about that. Go ahead. Tell us. I think so many times, like I got really sick one year, and I lost like 15, 16 pounds in a month. And it was not because I wanted to, it was because I couldn't keep anything in. And then I became dehydrated, ended up in the emergency room with an
Yeah.
IV, and it wasn't the funnest thing. And I felt really just, I was nauseated, I was tired, and I just couldn't keep nothing in.
Yes.
So, what would, if somebody, first of all, what would be like some signs and symptoms of dehydration that would be easy to pick up on?
Um. Well, uh, you'd ask them when was the last time that they urinated, and was their urine dark, and was there less urine than usual? And if they're dehydrated, they're gonna say yes to all that. I'm thinking of my son. He got like a vomiting flu. He's a teenager, a very large, tall teenager, but he got a vomiting flu last year, and I kept trying to put electrolyte fluid into him, and I didn't have an IV kit like with me. I'm not a practicing EMT, and I knew that that's what he needed. I mean, if you have someone that can start an IV, that's the best thing for someone who's vomiting, cannot hold anything down. So I had all my preps, my like electrolyte drink powders, and all that. I was trying everything to not hold anything down. And the second day that he didn't produce any urine, I knew I had to rush him to the ER, and luckily it was very close by. And I just showed up and said, he needs this right now, and they tried to talk us into other stuff, and I'm just like, nope, we're just here for an IV. And I mean, if you're in that situation, you just have to be really firm and say, no, I know what I need. I just need an IV. But um, if you have access to one, that's definitely the best way to go. But if you don't, the problem is with children. If they're crying, they'll stop showing tears. There won't be tears. They'll get lethargic.
Mm.
They're going to stop urinating. Their diaper will be dry. And with pediatrics, cool, clammy skin and limbs happen. That doesn't always happen with adults, but with pediatrics, it does. And the problem with dehydration is that it can lead to stroke. It can lead to heat exhaustion, which is causes brain damage. And a really good sign of dehydration is to check their skin, the tuger of their skin. Like you pull up on the top of their hand, and if you pinch the top skin of their hand and it stays there, it's called tenting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's poor skin tuger.
So does Gator, like, what drinks would you recommend having, like maybe around the home if somebody was dehydrated, or in your get home bag or your bug out bag? I always carry Gatorade. Anything with electrolytes, I think, would be sufficient to at least help you. Do you have any other recommendations if you didn't have an IV available? I think a lot of times with the way we're watching society and the things that are happening, what concerns me and what concerns the channel members that have been writing me is that what do we do? Because what if we don't have first responders? What if we can't get medical attention and it would come to some of these basic things?
What I would do is give the electrolyte drinks, make sure that it has sodium and potassium in it. And
Oh.
I wish I could remember the name brand. It's not by me right now, but I ordered for my preps. I ordered oh God, I'm trying to remember what I found it on. I found it on a website, but it's for athletes. It's supposed to be just extra.
Oh, I know what you're talking about too. Maybe I can look it up and I can put it in this pre-recorded for everybody to see, or maybe you'll be in the live and you can drop in and say this is the item I was talking about. Is there any other classes or things that maybe just from your personal experience that you think that people really should step up their game? Because if we do see a total SHTF, and like even myself and Dragonflies, we have been in the situation out here in this cabin where we weren't able to get the fire department here right away. Like literally, I had to drive out to them, and that concerns me because like when it comes to snake bites and things like that. But
Yeah.
do you have any words that you would say like, hey y'all, you really need to do this and this to get in your preps, and also to get yourself prepared if a first responder couldn't get to you, just in your own medical advice opinion from having all the years you have?
The electrolyte powder for the prep, make sure it has sodium and potassium in it. It's very important. And the most important thing is to not wait. If you or your child or somebody is even starting to get a fever at all, I would start the electrolyte drinks and start the Tylenol right away. I just would not wait. A lot of people think, well, I'll just wait and see what happens, see if it gets worse. But in a shit it's a fan situation, you can't do that. You need to do, basically you need to be 2 steps ahead of what you would normally do if you weren't in that situation. Just think 2 steps ahead about everything.
Most definitely. So I have one other question. Do you have a go-to medical reference book that you think everybody should have in their preps?
Oh, jeez.
I put you on the spot. This was one of those wing it questions, but I thought maybe you had a book that like was maybe basic first aid or something that you really feel very strongly about book wise, because books are so important. And if we do have a total collapse where God forbid that we wouldn't be able to see the mag and be with the mag, I think I'm really big on paper references. I think that we've gotten real lazy by being able to click into Google or DuckDuckGo and find whatever we want. And I think when things really roll out, if it happens or when it happens, I would like to have some type of paper copy book in my hand to say, this is my go-to.
Yeah, well, I've got all my paramedic books, which are huge. Each one is the size of like a phone book.
Wow.
They're big, heavy book, but those are by Brady. I mean, maybe people could get those used online.
Yeah.
It surprised me.
Yeah. Paramedic books would probably be a really good thing to have.
Yeah, I know
Um,
Brady was the company that made them, but they've been around a long time. I mean, they're just, oh my gosh, they're just chock full of stuff. So much information.
right. Well, Amanda, can you believe we've already been on 20 minutes? I
No,
told I told
I
you
can't. Can I say one more thing about babies just because I'm worried about people with little kids?
most definitely.
If they are dehydrated or very, very hot from the sun or heat, like the power's out, the best thing to do is to get them in the shade and do it step by step. Get them in the shade, then put a popsicle in their mouth, and then move them to like a cool tub of water. Like think it through step by step, but don't wait. That's the most important thing is to not wait. Just be 2 steps ahead of everything.
Yeah, well, and definitely get him out of the sun. Get him out of the sun. That's just like
Yep.
when I was talking about if you're low on water and you are in a get home situation with just your get home bag, you're going to have to pick and choose. Okay, am I going to travel during the heat of the day, or am I going to get up early in the morning with the sunrise and get as many hours as I can, depending on the terrain, or am I going to travel at night? And those things are going to come into play. And I think everybody has to have a plan. And I appreciate you so much. And I think caring about our babies is, our grandkids, our nieces, our nephews, whatever it may be, or our own little ones, is really important to know some of those steps.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've got other things I can tell you in the future about things to look for in the babies and the kids. It's different from the adult. It's very different.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe we can have you come back on at the end of October. We'll have a panel, and maybe you can come on that panel, and we can figure out what's wrong with your phone or whatever, and your video part, and get you on. That way, you can just show your avatar. A lot of people do that, but then you could be on a panel, and we could kind of have a panel that goes around and discusses different situations, and then answers in their own opinions, and then that would be a great way to bring it to the channel, I think.
Okay, and could I refer people to one person on YouTube that's really good with all this stuff?
Most definitely, especially if it's first aid.
Okay, his name is Skinny Medic. He's been on YouTube for years.
Skinny medic. Okay, maybe I'll try to reach out to him too. You never know. Maybe he'll come over and do a special on off the wall prepper, uh,
Yeah,
and it would be a great way to give him a big shout out too. But we will definitely. I'll reach out to him, and maybe I can even have him on this show with you, which would be even cooler. So you never know what'll happen at off the wall prepper. That's why I'm off the wall, right? And Amanda, I want to say big prepper hugs to you. Thank you so much for taking your time out tonight. I know that you have long hours, and we got to keep lifting our brothers and sisters up in Florida because that's quite a mess down there. But
yeah.
this will
I
be.
love your show very much. I always learn something from you every single show. I love it.
You've been here, I think, for quite a while.
Yeah, well, a year and a half or so.
Yeah, since the beginning. Since the beginning, when I used to have like 20 subs, and I used to talk on lives just all by myself to me. But Amanda, thank you so much, and I always look forward to getting your emails too. So, God bless you. Big prepper hugs, and thank you so much tonight for stopping in and doing this.
Yes, thank you so much for letting me help people. Thank you.
It's about community, right?
Yes.
We either all stand together or we all fall together.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Amanda. I'll reach out to you soon. I'm gonna.
Okay.
All right. God bless. Thank
Okay.
you.
Much love.
You too. Big prepper hugs at you, woman.
You too.
Okay. Bye bye. So I think it's really important what Amanda said. I really appreciate her coming on the show. This is a little trauma slide that I came up with. This is some basic first aid things that I think everybody should have. I think that when it comes to first aid, one, there's a lot of classes out there that people can take, such as the ones Red Cross has. And um, if one of my mods would also drop the Skinny Medics YouTube channel, that'd be awesome. And Amanda, thank you so much again for being here tonight. But when you get your first aid kits, so many of them just come with real basic stuff. And I think it's really important to go through your first aid kit and make it your own first aid kit. You might live in an urban setting or a rural setting, whatever it is, that may be a little different for me. And I think that when it comes to first aid, that each and every one of us has to take that first aid kit and actually make it our own. If your husband or wife works, out in the field a lot, they need to have a first aid kit that they're carrying in their vehicle. We made sure of that when I was in the van all the time with corporate America, and we also have one in our Jeep, and we have one. Well, we have a heck of a big one here at the cabin because we are preparing to help other people. If you're able to pick up extra things here and there, don't overwhelm yourself. You can get first aid supplies all over the place, but I do recommend that you definitely have a cold compress. You definitely have some quality gloves. I usually have them by the box, which I think is important because you never know when you're going to have to use those. The other thing is triple antibiotic, burn relief, alcohol cleansing pads, first aid tape. Dragonflies has some wound care specialist. She was a wound care specialist, so she has some specific things for that, and she has some specific things from when she was in the medical profession as well. And I appreciate everyone and everything that we talk about here on the channel. I think first aid is really important. I'm going to keep bringing these shows all month long. They might be a premiere, they might be a video, they might be a live guest, but we need to all center and focus on how we can help people when or if we have a total collapse, a war situation, nuke, whatever it may be. So let's get into a little bit more of the video here. So those are just some basic things that you should have for sure. You can pick up first aid guides from the Red Cross. You can pick them up on Amazon, on Thrifty Books. There's a lot of places that you can reach out to get you a new updated first aid guide. I actually have some of the older ones. I like them because I like the old lost ways. We also are going to have special guests this month for foraging. Remember that the chances of performing successful and effective first aid increase if there's more than one person assisting in an emergency. So you may be asked to step up to the plate and help someone else. It doesn't mean you have to take it all on yourself, but knowledge is power, skill is power. And it's really important because what if 911 cannot be deployed to you? What if the first responders aren't there? You're going to have to stand on your own. And I think that that's really, really important to realize what if you are by yourself? What if it's just you and your family? And so you want to take precautions. Maybe if you have a cane or a walker or anything of that sort, keep it because you may not need it, but you may be able to loan it to someone, barter with someone, give it to someone wherever you're at in that area as well. I think this month is going to be really interesting because we all need to know more medical. There's also going to be a little bushcrafting series, a foraging series. I have some other special guests coming in that I'm really excited to have here as well. So I hope that each and every one of you that we keep doing the legwork and learning the skills, because no matter what happens, they can't steal our spirits and they can't steal our skills. And skills are going to bring you through a lot of things. So I hope that each and every one of you really enjoyed this segment of our very first, the first aid. And I hope that you each keep doing the legwork. If you have questions or if you'd like to be a guest this month and you have first aid experience or medical experience, reach out to me at offthewallprepper@gmail.com. We would love to have you because really, the prepping community, all of us should band together, preppers, homesteaders, patriots, 2A'ers, all of us just good people. Even if you're from somewhere different in the world, we need to come together as humanity and stand up for each other and learn skills from each other. And that's what the preparedness community really should be about. So this is OTWP. I'm glad that you're here. And thank you again, Amanda, for being on the show. God bless each and every one of you from wherever you're at, from our little cabin here in the Ozarks to wherever your piece of heaven is. We love y'all. We care about you. Big, huge prepper hugs. Stay centered, stay focused, and learn the skills. Do the dang thing, everybody.